Hey everyone, Sari here, and welcome back to another week of Astra Season Offense matches. This was our first season after the CYL banner debut. I was really interested to see how the new units would do on my offense teams, and Gullveig ended up sweeping the entire week. She works extremely well as a hit-and-run carry with the right backup, and reminds me a lot of using Legendary Claude. Null follow-up and high first-hit damage reduction let her initiate safely into most enemies, while her excellent offense stats and true damage give her the firepower to overpower enemy walls, even without a Pierce effect. Gullveig's main draw, though, is her access to a variation of Raging Storm. While Gold Unwinding only works every other turn, and applies a gravity effect to her when it activates, that extra action gives her an incredible amount of flexibility when finding a way to dismantle an enemy team. Together with her weapon's built-in Canto, she can cover a surprising amount of distance with her bonus action. Flared Sparrow is another useful part of her kit. While it's primarily a strong damaging skill thanks to the free chip damage at the start of combat, the option to limit the movement of enemy ranged units can make a significant difference in your ability to stay out of their range during the enemy phase. I also chose to replace her native Oath skill for Rain this week. With Naga providing the stat bonuses and formation buff, Rain becomes a more consistent source of combat stats. Yuri is an essential part of the support team. His ability to navigate into and defuse any trap while putting Gullveig into the perfect spot to attack from isn't something anyone else can do. His base version works just as well with a single Dragonflower or a Merge, which is something I'm setting up for non-wind seasons. Plumeria is an important enabler for him. Guidance 4 lets him jump over walls on the first turn if necessary, which really helps take advantage of the safety fence. The other team members are here for support. Naga and Thor with Trace are both excellent at helping the team navigate the map, and Naga in particular can help Gullveig break through some of the sturdier dragons if needed. Veronica is mostly here as a bonus unit, though she does cover any greens that might give Gullveig problems, and can also soak Bright Shrines thanks to a Life and Death seal. Now that we've gone over the team, let's get to the first match. This was a fun match to start off the week, featuring a Mortis, Freyr, and Maria setup. This trio can be pretty hard to break through thanks to Freyr shutting down the start of turn debuffs, and Maria making it very hard to knock out Mortis in one round of combat. And if you fail to secure that one round knockout, he is going to use Nightmare to shut down the actions of your support and follow-up for that initial engagement. They also have a lot of firepower on this team thanks to the Elamine-proof Catria, giving triangle attacks to the T-Lysithia, the Ascended Flagyarn, and the Summer Thor. This team does have a bit of a hole in it because of Maria being all the way over on the left side, which means you can attack Femortis from outside of her miracle range. I decided not to do that here, since I would rather take out that miracle in this first turn, and not have to worry about it when I'm cleaning up the rest of the team. It goes pretty well here. We knock Femortis down to 1 hit point thanks to that pre-combat damage, and finish him off with the second attack. And then, since we did find that real Hex Trap with Yuri, we can step forward, take out Catria, and then Canto back with that second action. Repositioning Plumeria over means that we have her in range to dance for Gullveig, and Cantoing back lets her jump over Plumeria to re-enable that formation buff for the following turn. The safety fence shuts down their initial turn here, which gives us a chance to pick off at least one more unit before retreating out of range of the rest of them. I decide to go for Freyr here and almost goof up, since I'd forgotten that Yuri can't move 3 spaces this turn thanks to Stall coming out of Thor, so I have to get a little bit more creative with getting Gullveig all the way forward. Thankfully, a dance lets Thor reposition her forwards, and, after knocking out Freyr, Gullveig can use Canto to move back down and out of the danger zone. The extra fire patches here do a lot to slow down the rest of their team, since they're all ranged at this point, and keeps them bottled up pretty nicely. From here, it's mostly just about trying to clean up the front line, and use the fire to slow down the rest. Smite and a foul play gets Gullveig into a good spot to do that. And here's where things get a little awkward. This caught me off guard because I actually really thought that I'd knocked out the miracle effect with Verminous earlier. But apparently I'd managed to do just enough damage to land him at 1 hit point without triggering the miracle effect. So Lysithea gets it here. It's still salvageable though, and we can move Gullveig over to take out their Thor in 1 round of combat, thanks to that extra action, and Kanto back, which lets Plumeria get in range to dance her, and get back out of harm's way, and Lysithea is not going to survive the 2nd round of combat. We don't have another Kanto to retreat with here, but Veronica is in position to reposition Gullveig over to the left, and get her out of the danger zone thanks to the fire slowing the rest of their team down. And from there we can start cleaning things up. Another foul play puts Gullveig in a great spot to take out Leghorn. And from there it's just about stalling to reach the Aether pots. The fire makes that very easy to do. And while we can't quite close things out this turn, Yuri can break 1 pot, Veronica can grab the other, and we just wait for Maria to move over so that we can finish her off on the following turn. This was another fun map to see, featuring another Freyr, Vermintide, and Catria setup, along with an out-of-season Medius to block any bolt towers from hitting their safe tanks. The Catria is mostly here to enable this Ascended Joshua, who's pretty spooky to try and tank, having a sweep and lull baked into his weapon, along with the tempo, unity, and pulses to give him easy access to lethality, is not somebody you want to underestimate when trying to tank this team. And, of course, the Freyr and Vermintide setup makes it a little tricky to actually break this open with a player face squad. This one doesn't have Maria, though, so I was feeling fairly confident going into this. Even with this wall on the front line, it's not too hard for us to use Guidance 4 to let Yuri get Gullveig past the wall on the first turn, and start cracking open the team. Without Maria on this squad, Vermintide drops pretty easily. And we can use that second action to knock out Medius next. Before Kantoing back, and opening up the wall to let Plumeria dance her to safety.
I'll do it. Yes. It will be so.
Second turn got a little bit tricky, since the best way to make this safe for us in the following turn is to take out Ninian. Thankfully, a Smite lets Gullveig get all the way in there, into the recently vacated spaces, and reach Ninian. Before using Kanto to defuse this Hex Trap, which was fake anyway, but just in case. Foul play lets us get Gullveig almost all the way to safety, and a reposition gets Yuri out of harm's way.
Close your eyes.
And from there, since Joshua's the only one without an assist, we can count on him to move first and not actually jump past Catria, even if she did end up chasing Gullveig. This turn it's easy enough to start cleaning things up. Another Smite forwards means we can take out Joshua first.
Fade away.
and use the extra action to move back and take out Katria. And Kanto a step further back to put her right back in range of being danced by Plumeria, and take out Freyr to close out the turn.
Your future is set.
And with only Rudolph left on the team, it's pretty easy to start navigating around the map to reach these ether pots and close things out. Yuri can help Thor get almost all the way in there immediately. And while we can't reach the second pot too quickly, it's not going to be too hard to reach.
They will submit.
Thor grabs the first one, and we can reposition Yuri forwards, reach the second pot, and let Gullveig close out the match. This match was another fun one to see, featuring another Freyr for Mortis and Katria setup, this one adding Maria back into the mix. This Maria does a better job of covering the tiles you can attack for Mortis in, only leaving Freyr's tile as a blind spot for her miracle effect. And they've also got a rearmed Robin to keep them safe from any melee hits. Katria does a pretty good job of enabling both the Duo Asker and the Maria as offensive threats, and Mirabilis does help a lot to let the team actually chase any hit-and-run approaches. We get things going on the first turn again here. A foul play from Yuri means that we can just get Gullveig all the way in, even if it is a fake trap. And we'll attack this tile with Asker, since, once again, I would like to trigger this miracle on the first hit. And this time I did my math correctly, and we do end up triggering it with this first hit before finishing him off with the second. After that, we can hit Asker directly, finish him off, and then Kanto back onto the heavy trap, which is real, and then Gullveig, and let her pull Plumeria to safety.
It will be so.
By your will.
The safety fence does a lot of work again, just shutting down this first turn. Which buys us another turn to pick off a unit before retreating out of range.
Going now.
Picking our target is important here, and I end up going after Freyr,
As always.
since his ability to move 3 spaces forward and also give his allies defensive bonuses can be pretty annoying. Also, with Freyr out of the way, I know exactly who's going to move first, since Robin is the only one without an assist, and Robin getting danced from either tile she moves to is never going to open up an option for Maria to jump forward and reach us. So, from here we can start picking apart the rest of their team. Maria goes first here. And then we can use the extra action to step forward and take out Katria. Before moving over and defusing the Hex Trap.
I seek a foe.
Repositioning Plumeria forwards means we can dance Gullveig,
Why not?
and give her one more attack to knock out the Mirabilis.
It matters not. Once more, once more.
And then we can finally use Foul Play to get Gullveig out of range of Robin,
It will be done. Good.
and start opening our way to the Ether Pods. From here, it's easy to let Veronica pick up our last Aether pot, before having Gullveig use a little bit of overkill from Naga to finish off Robin and close out the match. This map was a change of pace from the Catria setups I'd been seeing this week. They opt for more of a guarded Cavline approach, using a bonus week legendary Veronica and a duo Corrin to threaten most of the map, with some help from duo Dogger's Pathfinder. The Harmonic Azura gives them a lot of reach if either of them survive attacking, and it can be hard to attack into this team thanks to the Verminous and Idun giving them 2 saves, along with the front wall and the traps behind it. I do think this might be tankable, especially with a good red tank, since they only have 2 main threats on the team that can reach you in this early area. But I decided to see if Gullveig could navigate her way to a victory on this map too. Approaching this is a little trickier, since I do need to foul play Gullveig onto one of the hex traps if I want to guarantee attacking safely. And even though we find the fake one, Gullveig's in place to attack into Vermintide and take him out. We can use her extra action to knock out Dogger, and taking Pathfinder off the field will limit their access to this right-hand side of the battlefield just enough that we can retreat out of their range for this turn. A Canto back onto the real heavy trap defuses it, and means that both Gullveig and Plumeria can get to safety. The safety fence shuts down the first turn, but we're not quite out of the woods yet. If we don't take out Azura here, either Corrin or Veronica would be able to catch us, so using our own Veronica to reposition forward means that we can knock out Azura. And by using all of Veronica's movement, we save that trace for her next action, after being danced by Plumeria, which lets her reposition Gullveig into a safer spot and get to safety herself. And now that Gullveig's back far enough away, we can foul play her to safety and keep Yuri safe as well. They can't reach us here, and Veronica actually ends up helping us a bit by starting to break that crumbling wall. Smiting Gullveig forward gives her access to Freyr, but that's not quite where I'd like her to attack from this turn. If we finish breaking the crumbling wall and open up the Panic Manor, we can foul play her over to the right and let her start from this side of the map. Attacking from here means that we can plant Gullveig in a perfect spot to continue her attacks without having to move at all, by going after Veronica second.
It will be so.
And with 2 of the calves out of the way, all we have to do is dance Gullveig,
Close your eyes.
and let her move all the way in to take out Corrin.
The cycle's power.
And when they're limited to a single melee armor on the battlefield, it's not too hard for us to navigate around her,
As always.
reach these ether pots, and close things out. We can get one of them here with Thor and Gullveig opening the path forward. But we can't quite reach this second ether pot this turn, so we just end up playing keep away for one more turn.
It will be done.
And then have Yuri go in, grab the ether pot, and go for another round of dragon slaying overkill to finish the match. This map was a bit of a return to form, featuring another Freyr, Verminous, Maria, and Katria setup. This team is also fielding a legendary Hinoka and Brave Lysithea as powerful ranged threats, and you can't count this Arvel out either, especially thanks to Katria's Guidance 4, giving Arvel, Maria, and Lysithea a lot of extra mobility, and actually synchronizing their attack ranges with a charging Hinoka. The team seems really hard to try and tank, and it's not easy to approach this with a hit-and-run squad either, thanks to the mountains and structures on the front line, and a Kanto control hiding on this Brave Lysithea. Even with that, we're still going to let Gullveig handle this. Mountains don't slow us down too much thanks to her own Guidance 4, which lets Gullveig get into range of this front line to start things off.
It will be so.
We are going to attack Vermintide from in range of Maria, as usual, to make sure that we don't have to worry about the miracle later in the fight. And from there we can step over and take out Freyr. While the Kanto control does mean that we aren't going to be able to retreat as easily as we usually do,
Why not?
Plumeria and Gullveig are both flyers, which means that the mountains don't slow them down, and we can just dance Gullveig and reposition Plumeria to safety.
Think it through.
The safety fence shuts down their first turn, and we can go in to continue picking this apart just a little bit.
I seek a foe.
Repositioning Yuri forwards here means that Gullveig can just use formation to jump forward and attack Katria. And with a little bit more repositioning
Going now.
to get Thor back out of the way,
Sure.
we can foul play Plumeria forward, dance Gullveig,
Close your eyes.
and actually Kanto back, since we're out of range of Kanto control.
What is your desire?
Which lets Gullveig jump back and reposition Plumeria away from the charging Hinoka to stay out of range this turn. From here, it's about trying to make sure we limit their threat range as much as we can. We'll start with Hinoka. And while we aren't quite in range without some help, smiting Gullveig forward onto the trap means that we can turn around and knock out their Kanto control Lysithea,
Be so.
bringing all of our mobility back online.
Fade away.
Which lets Gullveig step back, get danced, and move one tile further back to guarantee that we stay safe. Arvel always moves first, so we don't need to worry about them warping forwards,
I'll handle this.
and the fire is doing a great job of blocking them from moving very far anyway. From here, Yuri can pick up our second Aether pot, and we can close things out.
As always.
Arvel goes down first. We did need to use a second action to bring Blade Session fully online if we wanted to one-shot Arvel here. But without a way to pierce the damage reduction, Gullveig would have survived that hit anyway.
It matters not.
And then Maria's the last one to go down. This map was a fun way to close out the week, featuring a slight deviation from the usual setup with a Cordelia closing out their Freyr Vermintide triangle. They also have a trio of very spooky mages on this squad, including a Dioasker, an Ascended Celica, and a Citrine. Celica and Citrine in particular are a lot harder for Gullveig to approach than most of the enemies she's gone through this week, since with Special Spiral 4 they can punch right through her damage reduction and knock her out in one hit on the counterattack. And Celica survives that first hit no matter what with Miracle, while Citrine just has enough raw res and triangle advantage to tank a hit as well. Navigating this ends up being a bit of a tricky one, and I need to go very deep on this first turn to make things
What is
work.
your desire?
By repositioning and smiting Gullveig and Yuri forwards, we can test a couple of traps, and have Gullveig go all the way in to knock out Citrine before she gets to charge up this iceberg. And while she does hit pretty hard on this counterattack even without it, she can't pierce. Which means Gullveig can survive, and finish her off with the second hit.
Your future is set.
From there, we can step over,
As always.
knock out the Verminous, who is not quite doing his job. And then Canto back, and use all of our mobility from Cantos to have Gullveig reposition Plumeria to safety, and stay out of range for this first turn. From here, we do need to be careful with picking our target, since we don't want to get caught by
As always.
Azura and her extra movement dance. Knocking out Aster here limits Celica's movement range, which is important since she's the only one without an assist left on the field. And since Celica only has one tile that she can move to, which is one space to her right, thanks to the fire, we can make sure that even after she gets danced by Azura, she's not going to be able to move more than 2 spaces forwards, again, because of the fire.
I'll handle this.
So we finish defusing the traps, make sure everybody stays out of range,
Good.
and say go. And from here we can start cleaning things up.
I seek a foe.
While Celica still isn't someone we can attack into, we can start taking out her supporting cast, starting with Freyr. And using the extraction to take out Cordelia. Which has the important side effect of isolating Celica. Without an ally within 2 spaces, we can attack into Celica safely and knock her out in one hit, without triggering her miracle. The desperation from Plumeria would have also let Gullveig finish Celica off here, but it's nice to not have to rely on that.
It will be done.
From here it's a pretty easy path to victory. The unarmed Azura means we don't have to worry about her at all, and can just move forward to collect our Aether pots before bringing the week to a close.
Sure.
It matters not. Your future is set.
This was a great debut for Gullveig. I wasn't sure how effective she'd be at the start of the week, but this team was incredibly fun to use, and by the end of the week I was actively looking for ways to let her break the defenses I ran into. It also felt like a great answer to the various Freyr from Mortis Catria setups, which I really appreciate after seeing so many of them this week. I'm not sure which season she'll end up settling in, but I do expect her to be a key member of my teams going forward. I have a Discord channel too if you'd like to hang out and chat. There's a link in the description, and I've also got a Patreon link there if you'd like to help support the channel. As always, I hope you've enjoyed the video, good luck with your own matches, and I'll see you next time.